So, spawning on the top left position as a yellow Zerg, we are having trutaCz.
That's right, and on the other side of the map in the purple, in the upper right, that's Terran. If I did my math correctly, he's been playing StarCraft since he was 4 years old, according to his profile. I don't know about that one. I'm pretty sure I was just learning how to like not spit my food all over the kitchen when I was 4. But maybe he's more talented than I am. This is kogeT, one of, if not the best, non-Korean Terran player out there. Just a total badass. He's been to the finals many times before Zero, but you know, this time he couldn't quite make it all the way there. But still an absolute monster. And if you had just thrust me into the middle of BSL and didn't tell me this was the 3rd and 4th place match, I think that this could be the finals because these guys are just so good.
Oh yeah, definitely. It could have been the finals and no one would be offended because these players are showing us such a great level of good work. But yeah, they've been playing against the beast they couldn't handle. But right now, like the 3rd spot is still fine. Both of them will get a seat in BSL5 Pro League, so that's good for them. But now they are fighting for the cash prize because it's bigger for their 3rd place.
Yep, absolutely. A lot of money on the line. There's actually just so much money in this compared to a lot of tournaments, and it goes pretty deep as well. For instance, if you're top 8, you get at least $25. The difference between 3rd and 4th place is $50. So 3rd place player will get $150, and then 4th place will get $100. And then 1st and 2nd place play for a difference of $150, with 1st getting about $400. So that is more money than Liquid Drone or Area Door won from finishing top 8 at the Moscow 20th anniversary LAN. So you can retake the foreigner winnings in the modern era for Brood War if you win this tournament. It's a lot of money on the line, so let's see how our players want to do it. It's a little bit of annoying. Okay, what's happening to this SCV? It's a little glitched out there in kogeT's main, but just some scouting coming through for both players, and nothing's out of the ordinary.
Yeah, everything looks standard. I think trutaCz was very greedy at the beginning because after making the hatchery, he added 2 more drones. So in case, like, if kogeT would go for something like 8 racks, it would be bad for trutaCz, but he didn't, and now he is having some small economical advantage thanks to that. But kogeT is also going for fast expansion, so he don't want to be behind in Echo.
Yeah, 1 racks expand, both players going for a pretty economic start. And I think that's something that you should expect on Circuit Breaker just because it is such a huge map. I love it when players start out best of 5 series really aggressively, because then in game 2 you don't know what to expect, and game 2 here is on Benzene, so a very small map. But I love this single marine harassment. kogeT knows that his the lings are so late that he can actually get maybe a little bit of damage done here, and he's trying to, but turns out that 1 marine loses to like every unit in the game.
Oh yeah, exactly. That's right. Maybe he wanted to force more links from trutaCz, but he didn't overextend it. He just made 2, and now he's droning up again. So I think it's thanks to this overload in the middle. He sees that there are no marines going towards him. So yeah, that's very good play from trutaCz. He didn't go for this fake push from kogeT.
Right, sometimes you can use the SCV to wall the marine behind a mineral patch and actually be pretty difficult to take out, but that's not something you see players try all that often. The SCV is taken down, and that means that you know, it's not going to be there to scout, but it did reveal the lair starting up, and I think it saw the 3rd hatchery too, so he knows that he's going to be going for some sort of 3-hatch lair build, probably. You know, I would have said that maybe early mutas would be good here, but I do think that we're going to see a little bit more of a macro game from both players.
Yeah, it looks this way because both of them are not going for very heavy unit style, at least right now. They both are developing their economy. Now kogeT is even searching for some kind of overload, but he's practically really close to his main, and he sent an SCV to the scout just to be sure that there are no links which will be able to catch his first 6 marines, because it would hurt him too much.
Yeah, if you lose those marines, you have to put up a bunker, you have to just really play defensively. And I actually want to see what kind of style kogeT's going to go for, because, you know, it used to be that 1-1-1 was a build that Terran players were really perfecting versus Zerg players until Effort and to a lesser extent Soulkey really stepped up, and in grand final situations showed us that that is not a build that you can do against a player that is willing to play aggressively against you. And that's not the opener we have here, so we're already going to be seeing kind of a departure from that. A fast expansion into +1 5 racks coming down from kogeT.
Yeah, at kogeT, thanks to this good scouting, he scouted the timing of the fire. He knew that he didn't have to make a bunker because trutaCz is not making any links, and he saved 100 minerals for that. So that's why he's already having 5 barracks, almost like 3 barracks in production, 2 barracks in production, 3 barracks are production marines, and +1 on the way, already steam done. So we'll have the most standard opening from both players we can only imagine.
Yeah, this is what TVZ looks like. Just 9 times out of 10, you're going to get something along this line. So a lot of times you'll see players go for 4 racks instead and try to tech a little bit more quickly after that. But it's all about what kind of style you want to play. A lot of Terran players will switch into mech later on in the game, or you can just play more of a bio-focused style with like SK Terran and mix in a ton of science vessels. And I think that's what I've seen more often lately. But I don't know what style kogeT wants to play. He can absolutely do anything.
Yeah, because these days we are seeing Terrans was able to add Battlecruiser into the unit. Unit productions, and it's working perfectly when you think about it, because Zerg is forced to spend a lot of gas on defilers, lurkers, and upgrades, and you don't have a time for a lot of gas for the scourges. So yeah, that's also very interesting. And I'm also thinking what kogeT would go for. Oh, trutaCz
coming in with Lings there. Yeah. I think trutaCz was really trying to take this bio ball out, but not enough Zerglings, and now the Mutas are going to have to cut these reinforcements off to try to keep this a little bit more manageable, but actually losing a couple of Mutalisks there. Only one. One of them is very, very low at 20 HP, but he's going to try to keep picking off little tiny Marines here, and these 2 bridges are keeping kogeT's army from being able to clump together.
Oh yeah, exactly, and kogeT is not having he's having only 1 turret in the main base, so he's relying on the fact that trutaCz will fight against these Marines in the middle, but trutaCz is not deciding to go for it. He decided to add 3 Sunkens in the natural, and now he's killing every single Marine in the natural, and there are no turrets there.
Yeah, kogeT made a bold decision to continue moving across the map and try to use aggression to pull trutaCz back, but trutaCz didn't take the bait. He is actually dealing 1 million damage, and he could kill everything here, but he's not moving his Mutas.
Yeah, he can decide if he wants to defend or if he will be able to defend against these Marines, because kogeT is going in here, he's going for the Sunkens. This evolution chamber is helping trutaCz a lot.
Yeah, the Evo chamber definitely splits the Marines up. You can see several of them glitching out behind here, but the Mutas are back, and now that means that he's going to be able to use them to try to hold on here. No Sunkens, though. They all died, and that means the Marines are going to start stimming in, trying to pick off these medics behind, trying to get every single little bit of damage, and it looks like kogeT will not be successful at breaking the natural.
Yeah, but overall I think it was good for kogeT, because now it's only 5 mutas left for trutaCz, so kogeT is not forced to make too many turrets right now. He can go just make more Marines and try to keep trutaCz at home, because he saw that the lurker task is already done. So yeah, I think it was overall not too bad for kogeT, despite the fact that he lost all the Marines.
I think the worst part there is obviously losing the medics. If you can keep your medics alive, like when you know the fight is over, just run your medics back home. Obviously, it doesn't work too well against Mutas. What are these 2 lurkers doing there? They're just like running around in circles. Like, surprise! I've got the lurkers. They're right here. So yeah, losing the medic count is going to be really rough. But with 5 racks, you have basically infinite bio. The problem is that after seeing the 2 lurkers, he still loses a little bit of bio. But taking those out makes it an open highway, like an autobahn across the map for this bio ball, just free and clear to move all the way across. And the Sunkens have not been rebuilt. There's only 2 at the natural. And while, yeah, there's a few Hydras here, I don't think he actually... Okay, he has 2 lurkers morphing.
Yeah, but he's not having any lurkers defending the 3rd base, and when the bio is on the field, it will be hard to transfer some Hydras or some lurker to the 3rd base. So kogeT might be able to deny 3rd base from trutaCz, and this is a huge move for him.
Yeah, when you have lurker tech, you definitely need to use it to defend. your opportunity to get a third base. Now, trutaCz sees this in time with the Overlord, and so he's going to be able to cancel the base itself. And so kogeT gets down here and is like, wait a second, I thought there was a base here. And so if he uses this one Marine to hunt for the drone, he will eventually find it. And I think, oh yeah, he sent it to patrol around. This kogeT's so smart. Like, I knew there was something down here, and he's gonna find the drone and take it out.
Yeah, that's minimum commitment, but now he needs to be able to defend the main base, the natural, because there is no bunkers there, and 2 lurkers already in position, 2 more are coming.
Oh my god!
In, so trutaCz with brilliant counterattack.
Yeah, you know, perfectly timed. He's got lurkers to stop the bio from coming across the bridges, and he's got, oh no, the lurkers on the bridge, they're killing so much, trying to come across it. These spines are huge.
Yeah, exactly, and kogeT is not paying attention. He's losing every single
Oh my god. That's so tragic. He just GG's out because he didn't control his army across the bridge, lost them all, the 2 lurkers. In the end, one of those lurkers had 12 kills, the other had 7. A huge move there by trutaCz to catch kogeT out of position, trying to take third base down and make a perfect counter attack to win the game.
Yeah, and we are having 1-0 lead for Mr. trutaCz. Very nicely done.
Yeah, super well played there. I was really kind of worried when he tried to take out the first bio ball and lost all of his lings and maybe lost a muta or 2 there. I was like, ooh, well, you don't want to take a bad first engagement. And then when he kind of didn't move his mutas and could have killed basically everything in the natural because he was too busy putting up sunkens to defend against the push, but he stabilized. And that's something that so few Zerg players can do against a strong, huge bio push. He reclaimed his natural, had to cancel his third base, but used that as a bait to pull kogeT out of position. Beautiful play there by trutaCz.
Oh yeah, definitely. Very nicely done. And like, I'm always afraid when I'm losing the third base. I feel like I'm losing the game, and the
Yeah.
only option for me is just the counterattack. And I feel like every tournament which I'm playing against know about it, but somehow trutaCz did it in a way that kogeT wasn't prepared for this counterattack, and it worked perfectly.
Yeah, why don't you just play like trutaCz, Zero? Like, I mean,
Oh, it's impossible. He's too quick for me. Like,
oh, he's so good.
Yeah.
Like, watch these player APMs like this, and especially the grand finals. Super fast players, and it's not just that their hands are quick; it's that their brains are pretty quick too. To think of things like going for that counterattack, executing it perfectly. The lurkers on the ramp, and then also the ramp into the main. That would have been really difficult for kogeT to return and save everything. But game number 2 is on Benzene, and so that game we had some time to start up, but Benzene can absolutely be like one of these, 4 pool maps if you want to make it that way.
Yeah.
So I don't know what to expect here, but this, if kogeT decides to go for something like an 8 racks, it's super potent on this map.
oh yeah, it's definitely possible because he will be able to know where to put the barracks to not be scouted by the Overlord. So it should be fine, and it's pretty long path to scout your opponent. So if trutaCz will not scout with the drone very early, he might be caught with some crazy strategy from kogeT, and he's definitely having some by this, like from last 20 years he learned from some strategies. Oh, Mr. Dewold, thank you for your host. Namaste for your host. This is our BSL5 champion, Mr. Dewold. Thank you for supporting us, and don't forget.
Also,
yeah.
He's paying it forward because you hosted him yesterday, and so today he's the one giving the host. So nice to see the Broodwar community spreading the love, and of course an amazing player who almost made it here if he hadn't had the closest series I have ever seen against trutaCz earlier on in the round of 8.
Yeah, and on the defense of Dewold, he was on the honeymoon like 2 weeks before this match, so he wasn't warmed up really, but he really showed us some amazing games there.
Yeah, I don't think that in general players who are on their honeymoon have a hard time delivering good gaming performances. But there's a Rocky quote about that in Weak Legs or something like that. But for the most part, it's been insane to watch DeWalt so much. So now all of his viewers can watch these players play. And we're about to get into game 2 on Benzene, so it's an exciting time for all of them to join the stream.
Yeah, so we are going to the game number 2 on Benzene, trutaCz versus kogeT, trutaCz with 1-0 lead. So spawning on the top right position as a blue Zerg, we are having trutaCz.
And his opponent in the bottom left-hand corner in the purple as Terran is kogeT. And, you know, kogeT is down 0-1 after running his bio across the ramp against Lurkers. Somewhat tragically there at the end of the last game. I mean, his execution was actually pretty good up until that point. I think he could have turned around after canceling the third base a little bit faster. He like funneled all of his units there to check it. But my point is that this bio style that he's trying to play is super popular, or is super potent in his hands. And I wouldn't be surprised if we see another game like that when we get to another big 4-player map.
Oh yeah, that's definitely the option, because like kogeT made almost everything perfectly in this game.
Good work,
but
guys.
only,
Keep on BSL.
But he didn't only defend against one attack, and it was like he definitely could do the same thing again. But
right
now I'm thinking, why trutaCz made a gas tweak? Because he's having 10 drones. Maybe he will go for something like 10 hatch without 2 more drones. I'm thinking.
So I was thinking that too, because you can actually build your extra hatchery farther forward and go for something aggressive. And so I thought that's why he was sending out this drone. But where is this drone going?
Oh, he's scouting in case of some kind of ATRAX, so you're right,
Yeah.
Mr. Rapid. This is definitely, even the players are afraid of some kind of pushes over there.
Well, it's such a small map. Like any 2-player map, you got to know that your opponent has the possibility to cheese you. I wanted him to go across the map for a proxy hatch. Obviously, he was a little bit slow if he wanted to try that strategy, but I still hoped. He does scout for it, and I'm glad that he does. It's not something you see players do a lot, but on a small map like this, it's probably a good idea. So trutaCz scouts that he's safe, puts down the hatchery, and is going to have the pool at a similar timing right behind it.
Yeah, but behind it we are seeing kogeT going for 1-1-1 build probably, or some kind of maybe raids, because we know that kogeT loves raids as much as I think Leta from the there is Leta is the raid guy, right?
Yeah, Leta. I've
yeah.
heard 8 different pronunciations of his name. That guy, man, it hurts my brain to watch him go 2-port cloaked raids like 5 games in a row in a best of 5. He 8 Raxes into 2-port raids. That's the build. That's the only build. That's all you do. And you know, sometimes it works because inexplicably, and I've had a discussion with trutaCz about this, is like, do the best players try to play a solid game, or when they know that their opponent only does one thing, do they blind hard counter it? And I said that best players will play a good game no matter what they expect their opponent to do. But trutaCz said that if you know your opponent only ever does one build, you should blindly hard counter it. And I said that that would make you a little bit too vulnerable, but if you know that your opponent only does one thing, then yeah, it's probably a good idea to just go counter them. But that's the thing about these 2 players, is that both of them can do anything.
Yeah, it's like, oh, and he's going for the starports, so yeah, that's the choice of the kogeT, and you're right, Abby, it's hard to counter, even if you would know that someone is going for 5 racks every time, it's impossible to counter that perfectly every time, because like, what if he's actually doing something else? Like,
yeah.
Oh, but
no, you're absolutely correct. You actually called this Zero. You're like, what if the spirit of Leta is strong in kogeT? And it is. And this is going to be really cool to watch, because it's actually really rare that you get a chance to see this, which is why it's so potent when you pull it out once, not 5 games in a row. So yeah. I'm excited that we get a chance to see this, because this will be pretty effective on such a small map. These raids are going to get across the map really fast.
And look at this factory. kogeT stacked the Marine with the factory on top of his command center, on top of his raffinery, just to have unit to stack with the raids to micro. So I didn't know you can do that.
I had no idea, because it's a flat wall theoretically, but how does Brood War work? I don't know. That Marine will never leave.
Yeah, that shows us how well prepared kogeT came to these games.
Yeah, you know, I've started to work on like memorizing wall-ins, even for some of the weirder maps that Kix has me play on. But I've never memorized where you trap the Marine when you go 2-port Wraith. That's, yeah, I'm a little bit less familiar with that one. And already the first 2 Wraiths getting out across the map, there's 2 or 3 Hydras there to defend the Overlords, but still they're going to get a lot of scouting information and be able to get into the main if they want to.
Yeah, and after seeing 2 raids, trutaCz knows that this is 2-port raids because there would be only 1 raid if he would go for something like 1-1-1 build, so trutaCz should know what he's playing against, even if he didn't scout it, kogeT. But now with the link, he sees that there is no expansion, so he knows for sure that he should just be prepared against this 2-port raid aggression.
Well, the next 2 raids are coming across, and eventually you get high enough Wraith numbers that you can kind of weave in and out and start picking off Overlords. But it's going to take a little bit more than just 4, so these are primarily just scouting annoying raids to maybe pick off a stray Overlord and make sure that kogeT has perfect information.
And we see him going for Cloak. Is he having Cloak already? I didn't notice if he did the build. Oh, he's
he's researching. He just started it. Yeah.
Oh. Yeah. So there is like, because like trutaCz is going for the speed of the Overlords, and if kogeT would decide to go for like switch into two or three racks Marines at this point, like pure Hydras are not the best against them. Oh, he will lose 1 raid.
Oh, that's really painful. You really want to keep these Wraith count as high as possible, because once you get up to 9-10, you can absolutely run in 2 3-shot over. Sorry, I was dying over here.
Oh, I hope it's fine.
Yeah, you can absolutely start running in and starting to pick off units here and there. He's trying to micro against Hydras. I don't know if that's a fight he's going to win, but the raid count is still growing. He's still committing to this. But the problem is that if you don't put on enough pressure, eventually the Zerg will build up too much and run across the map and kill you because you have no ground army. So it's going to be... you really do have to get some damage done with these raids. And I think he is starting to finally find some drone kills.
Yeah, that's always good. And as long as he will have these raids in game, he will be threatened trutaCz to go and do that kind of stuff. So trutaCz will never be able to remove every single unit from his base because he will be afraid of counterattack.
Wow, saving one of those raids at 10 HP, another one down at 50. I hope he breaks those off and sends it back home because they will not be useful. Yeah, he actually does send both of the damaged raids back home. That's really efficient. So maybe the raid count's going to be smaller, but he will save those and reuse them for another day. But the raid count is going to find a couple of Overlords as they ferry across the map, snipes one and gets out. Really good control there by kogeT, but the push is coming from trutaCz. That's a lot of Hydras to hold on against.
Yeah, and playing this raid build is very APM demanding, so it's not very easy to do that and in the same time do things at home, but kogeT is trying to take the third base. He will have a tank. I don't know. No, there is no siege yet, so if trutaCz will go with this attack relatively quickly, it should be fine for him.
Yeah, Lurkers morphing right out in front. There are a couple of Overlords here, so if the raids do come back, they can have a good opportunity to pick some of those off. Only 4 Hydras left back at home to defend, and 1 at the natural, so this is really not that many. A few more will hatch, but the raids, I think you probably need those to come back home, because this is going to be a very strong Lurker Hydra push to try to break through the natural.
Yeah, there are only few Marines and 2 tanks, which are not very far away from the bunker, so if trutaCz will snipe these tanks, it will be not the best position for
oh my god,
kogeT, and he's going for it.
He is going to go for it. The SCVs form a perfect wall to stop the Lurkers from getting in range of the tank and stop the Hydras from being able to pick off the last few. And I think overall, even though 1 Lurker does burrow and start doing damage, that is a beautiful hold for kogeT.
But he's not having any detection. There is no scan, there is no turret, there is no vessel, so this Lurker can be there forever. Oh, he will kill it with the tanks!
Oh my
what a move!
God, kogeT, what a badass!
Oh, why would he scan?
We see you. Oh my god, this guy's so good. I was like, I love how you set that up by talking about how impossible it was to kill it, and kogeT's just like, no.
I have STV.
Yeah, oh my god, so sick. So he does stabilize after holding on against that push. Obviously, there's push number 2 coming in. but it will not be as potent. And now look at the Wraith count, right? We've got 5 Wraiths, should have a couple more there after repairing them. I don't know what happened to those, but a dropship with 2 tanks coming into this high ground ridge above the natural. This is such a painful spot to be in for the Zerg player if you can siege tanks up on the high ground.
Oh yeah, definitely. He can snipe some drones and then escape, evacuate from there. There are some free hit raises, but only on the main side of the power generator. And kogeT is like, yeah, he's just using this position to attack trutaCz. And yeah, I thought the trutaCz will go for the counter attack because he took 2 tanks, so there is only 1 left in the kogeT base. But now he's going for the defend, and it is brilliant move from kogeT.
Yeah, he's got 5 raised there. I think where did he put those other 2 that he sent back home to repair? I hope he re-hotkeys those. But yeah, here we go. The Lings actually getting up to the high ground. The Wraiths trying to do a good job stopping the Lings, but they actually do not because they deal no damage to the ground.
Oh yeah.
So the tanks evaporate. They can't like unsiege and get back in the dropship fast enough, and that's actually a really good way to clear things up. trutaCz restabilizes at his natural, but the drone was sniped by Raze trying to take the 3rd base the first time, and so now this 3rd base is very late for trutaCz.
Yeah, very late, and kogeT already mining from 2 bases, and he's going for mech build. So it will be Goliaths from kogeT on this map? Huh.
Wow, that's really strange. Like I said, SK Terran high bio counts with science vessels is pretty popular, but I guess on a map like this where the map is so tiny, that maybe siege tanks are the way to go. So he's going to be going up into a mech build. The transition period though is really difficult because you're not building any Marines. It's hard to produce at high levels when you're building a bunch of machine shops. And so if the Zerg hits you right before your mech production kicks in, then it's actually very difficult to hold on. And it looks like trutaCz is building up for another huge attack.
Yeah, the 3rd base of trutaCz will be scouted, but there is Nidus tunnel over there already, so it should be safe in case of some kind of drop. There are 2 tanks moving at the bottom of the map in the bottom right corner, so he will try to do the same push again. Oh, there's
yeah, wait, whoa. Okay, well that's one way to do it. Plague also just barely finishing researching. So we'll see how well this works out. Yeah, I did not notice that Defiler tech so fast. So we're going to see our first Darkstorm. But the Defiler's actually getting snagged up on the Hydras behind this. So it's going to be a little bit late, but just in time. There it is. The Darkstorm on top of the Lurkers. Everything's dead.
And tanks are not dealing any damage to the Lurkers, then they can kill the Hydras. But the Lurkers are unbreakable under the Swarm. There are 5 tanks overall, but they can't do anything.
Oh my god, this is such a good bust. This is as good as the last bust was bad. He gets in, kills everything, and it feels like I said, this transitionary period to mech is so weak for the Terran player that he's just unable to hang on through such a huge bust.
Yeah, and now the drone is fighting against the tank under the Swarm, so that's pretty fine to watch. There is energy for another Swarm. So, oh, he's going for the tanks, and if trutaCz...
Wow, he's actually just going to run up the ramp. Oh my god. Okay. Well, I guess this is the way we watch the end of the game start. Wow, Buzz seeing kogeT back to 1 base. Obviously, there's still a lot of tanks here, but that doesn't really help you against Dark Swarm all that much. He's going to continue to push into the Terran main. If he can get on top of these factories, that's almost game over.
Yeah, definitely. There are a lot of tanks. It's not very easy to do, and there will be mines if kogeT will clear this out. So he will probably, he's moving and will try to mine the field just to be safe, maybe. Because, oh, he lost command center, so he needs to rebuild it. So. But somehow still kogeT is like almost even with supplies, so not that bad from him.
Yeah, I gotta point out, there's 1 Hydra that trutaCz set to the upper left-hand corner, and it killed scouting SCV, and it will eventually, if it walks over, kill this SCV that's building a command center up there to try to sneak in another base. But really good play there by trutaCz. If he can cancel that command center, obviously that'd be huge.
Oh yeah, definitely. And he done already GG from kogeT, so...
Oh my god. Wow.
I
guess he taps out. Yeah, I agree. Getting your natural smashed like that is so heartbreaking. Because it's mech, right? You need a lot of gas. You need a 2 to 3 base economy to really pump that out. And If you don't have it, well, it gets a little bit difficult to deal with a Zerg player who already has 3 bases up and running.
Yeah, exactly. And trutaCz, kogeT didn't want to spend his energy to just click and lose the game anyway, so he decided to invest this energy into the third game. So yeah, already 2-0 lead for trutaCz, and I think when I'm seeing the polls I made on the Team Liquid, there was like 65-70% for kogeT, so it's pretty surprising for community.
Well, I mean, I don't know. You watch too many Flash games and you just by default vote for Terran players to win against Zerg. But kogeT is still very, very good. And our hopes are with kogeT to get to Game 4 and get a chance to see Heartbeat for the second time, third time, something like that. It's not very popular, but it's a really cool map. It's got some cool island expansions and things like that. I want to see more games on it, but we might not get there because trutaCz is just really, putting in the hard work, going for these aggressive plays. And even if it doesn't work out the first time, he's able to kind of find the perfect moment to strike later on, and able to bust the natural there to take game number 2. I want to see something drastically different. I mean, I guess the map will be so different that you can't really expect to see something quite like that again.
Yeah, you're right, because it will be 4 players map, roadkill, where kogeT showed us yesterday so beautiful attack against Bonnie when he bunkered him on top of the cliff when he was trying to move out with from the main base.
Yeah.
So maybe kogeT is also having some brilliant strategy against Zerg over here.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I think we might be about to see a third trutaCz portrait in a row, Zero. If kogeT can't pull something out here, I mean, I do want to see a competitive series. I want to get to a 4-set to see Heartbeat, but man, trutaCz is he's not taking any prisoners. He is really, really, it looks good today. So I want to see if he can close it out in 3 games.
Yeah, definitely. He played perfectly against these raids. He made a hit release, he made a correct tech, and this defiler so quickly. I'm sure that kogeT wasn't expecting that he delayed him with these raids, with these tank drops, and trutaCz was able to take the third base to make a defiler push. He was even making the +1 car pace behind it. So it was very, very good game from trutaCz.
Yeah, both of them were. So, oh, wow. Our third game is going to be on Roadkill. It's match point for trutaCz, our Zerg player, who is up 2-0. I want to see if kogeT can pull it back. It's going to be very difficult, but I hope that we can get to game number 4. I guess we'll have to get into game number 3 first and find out.
Yeah, so let's start the game number 3. It will be on Roadkill. Yeah, as you said, Mr. Rapid, it's the match point for trutaCz. So, spawning on the 12 o'clock position as an orange Zerg, we are having trutaCz.
And at the 3 o'clock location, in the brown, in the brown is Terran. This colors are a little similar. Is kogeT. Both 2 of the strongest, if not the strongest, Polish Brood War players around right now. Of course, you have to include bo5, who's in the grand finals, but very, very strong players. And it's kind of weird to see this be so one-sided, because we've actually had pretty competitive series in the quarterfinals and the round of 8. So a lot of these players are very, very evenly matched, but every once in a while you just find one player, and even though they're both good, one guy just has kind of a read, the ability to predict his opponent and win every time. So let's see what trutaCz's approach to game number 3 is going to be. It looks like it's at least going to be an overpool, but probably we're going to see a hatchery build, just like he had in game number 1 on Circuit Breaker.
Yeah, it will be good for him that he will scout with the overload where kogeT is, and he will be able to see if there is a gas, what is the timing of the barracks, and after seeing these few things, these players can read from this kind of timings perfectly. So he will probably know what kogeT is going for.
Yeah, that's the hardest thing when you start to watch Brood War, especially if you're just playing it casually, is to like think about why the players are doing what they do, because it's not like there's an indication that there's no pop-up on the screen that says this player is doing this build. And so a lot of players will they'll try to scout to see what their opponent is doing. But the pro players are so good that they can tell what their opponent is doing by what they don't see. So it's like,
Merry
hey, there's
Christmas
no Overlord here, and there should be.
BSL
So by that,
season
I
6,
can
smiley
predict
face.
where it might be on the map. You could do a ton of crazy things like that. Just so impressive. The game sense of both of these players. But we are seeing basically exactly what you mentioned, a big macro start. It's like hatch gas pool, I believe, from trutaCz.
Oh, so it will be a little bit more aggressive opening from trutaCz. So I'm very curious. Maybe he decided to go for it because it's closer respawns right now. So the air way to fly with the mutas will be really close. So maybe that's why he's going for it. But kogeT is going for fake bunker rush.
Oh yeah, look at how many drones this is pulling. Well, it's only 4 drones. I think if this were a bunker rush, you want to pull probably a few more. He's got the Marines here, and so this is going to look pretty convincing. We'll see how well he can sell this before he pulls back and reveals that he's not actually going to commit to it.
Yeah, a lot of mining time has been delayed. So
yeah.
and behind it, kogeT is going for command center, so very nicely done. And I wanted to thank to Mr. Ebony for $5 donation and for Mr. Flare for $20 donation. Merry Christmas! Thank you for your support.
I love these 2 Marines trying to fight 2 Zerglings, and it's just not even close. The Zerglings are just so much better. And look, the drones are forced to be pulled again against this 3rd Marine that was rallied across. That was actually really effective. That's a lot of lost mining time.
But what kind of cojones size you should have to make only 2 links against bunker rush? Like
that's crazy, yeah. I mean, in the end, he did force a Sunken to come down, so it's a little bit of a moral victory. But at the same time, if trutaCz were going for a more aggressive build there, kogeT would be very close to dead. It's like if you lose your first 3 starting Marines to maybe 6 surprise Zerglings that surround them, all of a sudden you really got to hold your breath, right? Because if there's a really potent counter push coming, then that could be rough.
Yeah.
But either way, we've got 4 Marines now. We tried it with 3 Marines. Now it's time to try it with 4. I don't know what he hopes to accomplish here with these 4 Marines, because I mean, unless they run by the Sunken and get behind the mineral line, maybe this is a good way to punish trutaCz for having 0 Zerglings.
Oh yeah, that's what he's doing, and I didn't expect that kogeT will go for it, but you're right, he didn't make any. Oh, but the drones are too good against Marines, it looks like.
Oh my god, drones are so broken. Like, what are you supposed to do against that? This is really weird. I've never seen a player do this before. On both sides, I've never seen a Zerg player just be content having no lings, but also I've never seen a Terran player do a 4 Marine run by and then lose everything.
Yeah, but I think this game was so crazy until now that it will be hard to calculate for kogeT how much money trutaCz should have and how many drones, how many resources, and in the same time trutaCz is making the hidden expansion in the top left, and I don't know that after scouting trutaCz, after seeing everything, that he will be able to assume that he should have some money for another base, and that he will be scouting that
right.
spot.
You gotta kind of wonder where your opponent is putting all of his resources, because he walked those Marines in and saw that trutaCz just has no unit. He has no attacking units right now. He has does he have any Zerglings? Does trutaCz have a single? No, trutaCz has no Zergling. What is that? This is you're not allowed to play StarCraft this way. Okay. Cool. Well, I guess both players are sort of having that no rush 15 gentleman's agreement about just not attacking each other.
Yeah, that might be true, but like I really love this greedy play from trutaCz because we are seeing that it's working thanks to not making links. He was able to make another expansion. He's mining with 2 drones over there, and now with this relatively quick Mutalisk, he will be able to apply a lot of pressure, and he didn't even let kogeT to finish his 4th and 5th barracks because he was forced to make turrets and all the tech he needs. So now it will all depend on the trutaCz Muta micro.
And I think it's going to be really good. The double supply wall in front is going to be pretty exploitable. You can micro against that pretty well, and trutaCz has identified this weakness, so he's going to keep harassing this, and I mean, there's turrets up behind this, but he's still getting a little bit of damage, and he's keeping kogeT occupied, all while he gets this third base up. There's a Queen's Nest already on the way.
Oh yeah, that's very fast there, and maybe he will go for this crazy Zeg style without lurkers, go pure for straight to the Ultralisks. It would be interesting, but it's also close position, so it will be hard to pull that kind of build.
I thought Crazy Zerg was where you build nothing but like Zerglings, and he's built like 2 Zerglings all game long. But you're right, he's going to be skipping a lot of tech. He's actually about halfway done with +1 air weapons as well, trutaCz. So he is really going to be super potent with these Mutalisks, and then probably have a surprise hive tech behind this that might be enough to catch kogeT off guard.
Oh yeah. It's always better to have this hive tech than not have it, and look how many turrets kogeT is making. He's investing a lot of money into that, but at the end it might come to the fact to the point where he will not be forced to fight against Mutalisks, but against something else. So I'm a little bit afraid that kogeT is over investing in these turrets.
I think he might just be. I mean, this is a super scary Mutaball, especially when +1 kicks in, so I don't blame him, but it's still a lot of infrastructure to invest in defending against the Mutas here. A lot of damage, picking off several buildings being built. That's really annoying, but he is taking quite a bit of damage on these Mutas, and there's several at like 3, 4 HP, several at like 10, so gotta be careful with those. If you lose all of your Mutas, then all of a sudden, kogeT has the opportunity to counter push, and it's going to be hard to defend.
Yeah, definitely. And Ultralisk cover is already on the way. It's 9 minutes of the game, not even 9 minutes, and trutaCz is already making the Ultras cover. It will be 3 hatch Ultras. That's a very brave strategy from him. But he's leading 2-0 already, so he can do that kind of stuff.
Yeah, we should mention that like, one of the reasons losing Mutas is so scary is because he actually has nothing else. He has nothing but Mutas at this point in the game. No Lurkers, no Hydras, no Zerglings, just Mutas. And he is going to be going that crazy Zerg style. Okay, I'm learning a lot here because you don't get a chance to see this very often, Zero.
Oh yeah, definitely. And to that identify that kogeT will not scout this expansion, and until now kogeT still don't know about this expansion, and I'm not sure that he even know about the hive because he scanned the natural only, and he's forced to stay home because this Mutalisk are so threatened.
Yeah, he's got reinforcing Mutas too, so anytime one gets low he can just pop it out and put another full health Muta in there, and I think he's finally started to like overcommit a little bit. He's running through like triple turrets and stuff. There's 5 turrets in the mineral line here, so maybe not the most effective mining, but you're going to try to hold on here. That's a lot of damage to take to the Mutas, but there's so many more left over.
And kogeT immediately cancelled the two turrets after seeing that this Mutas died, but there is still plenty of Mutas left. And trutaCz economy
there's 7
is
drones
better.
AFK.
Yeah,
7 drones AFK in the middle of the map there. It's going to have to send a little bit more of those home. So a little bit of a hiccup. Nobody's perfect, but I think trutaCz's Muta micro has actually been pretty on point.
Definitely did his, like, the Muta pressure did the job trutaCz wanted it to do. Oh, and he's even taking more Marines. So now Ultralisk will have a nice party. Yeah.
It is. It's going to be a great time to be an Ultralisk. He's going to go for chitinous plating. It's almost done. It just now finished, and he's going to have +1 carapace behind it. So, ooh, this is going to be a very strong Ultralisk coming across the map here. Ultra speed just now started, and I don't think there's anything kogeT can do against this. He's got 1.5 irradiates.
Oh yeah, and sometimes irradiate can mess up even your Marines if you irradiate the Ultralisk which is close to your bioforce, so it can be also tricky. Sometimes even, I feel like even defensive Matrix can be better against Ultralisks.
Yeah, so if you make like the tank Marine that occupies all the Ultras while the rest of them, the Marines kill it. But you also, at the same time, you've got to deal with the Mutas too. And he hasn't secured his base against all these Mutalisks. And finally, he can see the Muta count start to get smaller. So he knows that the gas must be going somewhere else. and that's gonna be ultras, and it's gonna be so hard for him to deal with. There's already 6-7 ultralists out there with 3 more on the way.
And kogeT is having 200 energy on his comsat station, so he's not scanning in the main base, and I'm sure he will regret that, because he could use this scan to know what trutaCz is doing, and maybe he would react differently.
And I think trutaCz has started to kind of break the back of kogeT's main base. Nothing there here to defend. He's got 3 Marines, 5 Marines there, but here come the Irradiates. We'll see how well he's able to use those to push these mutas away.
Oh, he didn't finish the upgrade yet. It's like 15 seconds left, so he's badly
Oh my
waiting
God,
for
you're
this
right.
Irradiate.
Wow, I just kind of assumed that it would be done by this time. I mean, we're 12.5 minutes into the game, and there's no Irradiate. And so once that finishes, finally the mutas are going to be pushed back. And I think trutaCz kind of realizes that timing is coming, so he's going to pull the mutas back and use them defensively instead.
It will be around 30 Marines, so it will be pretty huge Marine ball. So, but the ultras are having +1 upgrade already. Already the speed and the car pace is done, and it's like 9 ultralisks already in the field.
Yeah, the ultras are they're placed in like a position that if kogeT tries to move out to push across the map, which he has to do to try to shut down a base, then the ultras just run up and kill his whole army. So I think we're about to witness the death of the human race here in the BSL0. Here we go, ultras surrounding the Marine.
Oh,
Yeah, and here comes the Scourge.
Scourges.
Oh my God, he's gonna kill almost every single science vessel. Yes, he does. And the ultras are running over kogeT's army.
Yeah, there is only few Marines left and still a lot of ultralisks. He's killing the ultralists. There is 1 bunker, so maybe kogeT will survive, but there are 2 more bases from trutaCz. Look at this minimap. He's already having 4 bases running. Oh my God, such a brilliant game from trutaCz.
Yeah, that was the move from trutaCz. And yeah, he's actually just gonna go for it. I think this might be a little bit greedy, but even if kogeT held on, it was too much damage. And kogeT takes the 3-0 victory, or trutaCz takes the 3-0 victory over kogeT in the 3rd and 4th place match.
Congratulations to trutaCz, really nicely done. Such a confident play from him, 3-0 against kogeT, that's impressive. I didn't expect that trutaCz will look so well at this series. He looked very well against Eonzek yesterday, but to beat kogeT 3-0, that's